That night felt like any other, but it wasn't. There was something in the air, something they couldn't see, but could feel. The room was quiet, lit only by the soft glow of candles. Shadows moved slowly across the walls, stretching, fading, as if even the light was uncertain. Outside, the world was still, but inside, something had already begun to change. They sat together, just like they had many times before. The same table, the same faces, the same voices. But tonight, none of it felt the same. There was a silence in the air, not empty, but heavy. The kind of silence that comes before something breaks. He looked at them one by one, not just at their faces, but beyond them, as if he could see what they were about to become. Every face, familiar, every soul, known. They had walked with him, through dust and distance, through questions and miracles. They had listened when others turned away. They had believed when belief was not easy. And yet, tonight, they did not understand, because some moments cannot be understood until they are lived. He reached for the bread, slowly. His hands moved, but his mind was still. For a moment, everything paused, not in doubt, but in knowing. "This is my body," he said quietly. His voice did not rise. It did not need to. "Given for you." The words were simple, but the meaning was far beyond them. They looked at each other, confused, uncertain. Some tried to understand. Others stayed silent. They had heard him speak before, but this felt different. Not like a lesson, not like a story, but like a farewell. He lifted the cup next. The red liquid inside reflected the trembling candlelight. For a moment, it almost looked alive. "This is my blood." His voice was calm, steady, but deeper than before. "It will be poured out for many." The air grew heavier. Something inside them shifted. They didn't understand the words, but they felt the weight behind them. A tension filled the room. No one spoke. Even the smallest sound felt too loud, because something in that moment felt final. And then, he said the words that broke everything. "One of you." Time slowed. A breath held. "Will betray me." The room froze. Eyes widened. Breath slowed. Fear moved quietly from one heart to another. "Who is it?" someone whispered. "Surely, not me," another said. Their voices were low, but filled with something deeper. Doubt, not just in others, but in themselves. Fear began to spread, not just fear of betrayal, but fear of truth. Because sometimes, the hardest thing to face is what we are capable of. He stayed silent for a moment, because the answer was already there, sitting among them, unspoken, but present. He looked toward him. Judas. Their eyes met briefly. A moment that held everything. There was no anger, no hatred, only understanding. Because even this was part of something greater. "What you must do," he said softly. "Do it quickly." The words were quiet, but they carried a weight no one else could hear. No one else understood. But he did. Judas stood up slowly. His chair moved, breaking the silence. For a moment, it seemed like he might stop, like he might turn back, like something inside him was still fighting. But he didn't. Some choices, once made, pull you forward no matter what. He walked toward the door, step by step, each step heavier than the last. The light behind him faded, as the darkness ahead grew closer. And then, he was gone. The door closed. A soft sound, but it echoed like something much bigger. And just like that, the room felt colder. The others looked around, confused, searching for answers that no one could give. But he said nothing more, because some things cannot be explained. They must be faced. The candles burned lower. The flames grew weaker. The shadows deeper. And the night grew darker. They thought it was just a meal, just another night. But in truth, it was the beginning of everything that was about to happen.
That night, the air felt different. Not louder, not darker, but heavier, as if the world itself was holding its breath. They walked in silence, through narrow paths, past sleeping streets, until they reached a place they had been before. A quiet place, a garden, known as Gethsemane. Entering the garden, the trees stood still, their leaves barely moving, as if even the wind refused to speak. He stepped forward, slowly, not as a teacher now, not as a leader, but as someone carrying something unseen, something no one else could feel. The disciples sit. He turned to them, his voice calm, but not the same. "Sit here, while I go and pray." They obeyed, but confusion remained, because something had changed. Inner circle. He called a few closer, the ones who had seen more, understood more, or thought they did. "Stay with me." His voice softened. "Stay awake. The wait begins." He walked a little further, and then he stopped. For a moment, it seemed like he might stand strong. But then, his shoulders lowered. His breath grew heavier. And slowly, he fell to the ground. First prayer. The earth beneath him, cold, silent. He pressed his hands down, as if trying to hold himself together. "Father," the word barely escaped. "If it is possible, let this cup pass from me." A pause, longer than words. "Yet not as I will, but as you will." Return, they sleep. He stood up, weak but steady. He walked back, hoping, expecting that they would be there, awake. But they weren't. They were sleeping, peacefully, while he was breaking. Disappointment. Could you not stay awake for even 1 hour? Not anger, not shouting, just pain. Second prayer. He turned back again, this time slower. He knew now this was something he had to face alone. "Father, if this cannot pass, then let your will be done." The words were softer now, but deeper. He was no longer asking to escape. He was accepting. Pressure builds. The silence grew louder. The night darker. His breath uneven. Some say even his sweat fell like drops of blood. Not from weakness, but from the weight of what was coming. Moment of strength. And then, in that breaking moment, something changed. Not outside, inside. Strength began to return. Not the strength to run, but the strength to stand. Third return, still sleeping. He walked back again, one last time. They were still asleep, unaware, unprepared, human. The shift. Enough. The word was quiet, but final. The hour has come. Everything was about to change. Approaching footsteps. In the distance, a faint sound. Footsteps. Torches. Voices. Growing louder. Coming closer. The darkness was no longer empty. Standing firm, he stood still. No fear now, no hesitation, only certainty. Because sometimes the hardest battle is not fighting, but surrendering to what must be done. The arrival. They entered the garden, a crowd, determined. At the front, someone familiar. Someone who had walked with them. Judas. The look. Their eyes met. Just for a moment. No anger. Just knowing. The betrayal. Judas stepped closer and gave the sign. A simple act. A kiss. But in that moment, it became something else. A betrayal that would echo through history. Tension explodes. The others reacted. Fear. Confusion. Some stepped back. Some reached forward. Everything began to move, calm in chaos. But he remained calm, as if everything happening was already known, already accepted. Arrest begins. They step toward him, hands reaching, chains ready. But he did not resist, because this was the path. Closing. The garden grew quiet again, but it was not the same. Because what happened there was not just a moment. It was the beginning of something much greater, something painful, something powerful.